Good day, YouTube, and Happy New Year. Welcome in 2025. It is January 1st, but you're probably seeing this late February is my guess because I do film a couple months ahead. Couple resolutions, get back to the gym. I did that. It's been pretty hit and miss me getting to the gym, but I've been there all week, actually, including this morning. It's all good. Fireworks in our neighborhood mess with our dogs pretty good, so we didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I'm kind of a little late this morning. One of the resolutions that I made during 2024, because I had some bad experiences with a couple of small inverter generators that weren't Honda, I said I would never buy another one. So I made good on one resolution and blew it on the second one, because I discovered this dollar auction thing. My wife uses it for selling things from around the house, and I got a notification that this thing showed up on this dollar auction. It is Yamaha powered IPower inverter generator. She's a little dirty. A guy got it in a storage unit auction and put it on this dollar auction thing, and I paid $40 for it. I don't have a clue. He didn't have a clue. He said it didn't run. That's what we know. Let's take it in the shop here and see what's going on. And by the way, the power just went out. My wife just texted me and she goes, we don't have power. And I go, well, same here. And as a crow flies, my house is about a quarter mile, about half a mile if you have to walk it. And so this side of town, south side of town, apparently no power. It's happened a couple times last week or so. Typically we have really good power, and I do have generators set up to back up both the shop and the house, so if it continues, we'll get them going. Let's get this in there. I'm using a couple Harbor Freight rechargeable lights. It's all we got today, boys and girls. I don't know a thing about this generator. We're going to fumble our way through it. I put it this side out because apparently there used to be 2 screws in it holding the side cover, and I see something about checking oil and air cleaner, and there's a little bit of fuel in it. I can hear it. So how does this come off then? Oh. So let me know in the comments if this thing's any good. How many lights do I have? So I guess these are rated similar to the Honda EU 2000s. Starting watts at 2,000, running watts continuous at 1,600. Man, I don't want to. Oh, there we go. Shoot. Part of the airbox cover's gone. Well, I don't know how good parts are available for this thing. Airbox cover missing. Spark plug is there. Well, she's a little oily down there. These things tend to get a little messy when you service them, how they're set up. Some people don't care. I do. I'll wear gloves. We're going to see a movie pretty soon. See how the oil is. Should be all the way up to the top, and it is. It's definitely got color. I mean, you know, but it's not black. Ooh, it's actually low. I'm thinking here for a sec. We're gonna add some oil to it. Some oil. Let me grab this. You don't have one of these, go on Amazon and get you one. Why aren't you threading on there? I just used it like a week ago. Dang. Is that a different thread? Why would Yamaha do that? Well, I don't want to ruin it for my Hondas. I've got a different one in here, a metal one. Let's try it. Evidently, it's different because these ain't working. Okay. You know what, boys and girls, we're going to dump what's in there out. We're going to dump that oil out and just start with fresh. We're going to end up changing it a time or two anyway. Grab me a drain pan. Don't make a mess in my tool drawer here. I got a million sockets in here. A million of them, I say. A million of them, I say. Oh, it is really black. Black is my soul, and there's so little in it. Wow. Just run it. Just run it. Dang, there's just a few ounces in there. Let me grab a paper towel. Not 7 of them, just one. We'll clean this up later. Look at that. Dang, it didn't even cover the bottom of the pan. $40 parts machine. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Yamalube 1040. It's just a yard sale thing. It's just been sitting there waiting for an opportunity to get used. It's not a full cord. Evidently, I've used some of it out of there. We don't care what we put in here for right now. But Yamalube and a Yamaha. How is that? I don't really know how much this takes, but we'll dump some in there, find out. We've just put more in there than we dumped out of there. And we're gonna need a little more. Pretty confident. We'll dump a little 1030 in after it now. probably holds about a quart, half a quart, some parts of a quart. Want to get too crazy. Don't want to get too crazy. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. And we're leaking all over the floor. I wish I had one more hand. Somebody come help me with this. We'll put the plug back in. I gotta wipe off my toolbox. So, good thing it didn't run for this guy. He said it doesn't run. Sure, it's got an oil sensor in it, which should have went off years ago. I haven't pulled the gas cap, smelled the fuel or anything. It was a porch pickup situation. Put the money under the mat, which I did. Sorry, I gotta wipe this off my toolbox. Soak it up on the floor. Okay. Air box is gone. Doggone it. Doggone it. Also, this end cover's missing too. I knew that. It was in the pictures. Okay. Dripping oil. Smells like gas. Smells like gasoline. So, can we spin it on the messy bench? Now then, back looks okay. I'm going to step in front of you for a second. Is there start choke? It was in start choke position. Off, run, start choke. So we'll, if it runs, which we don't know. Okay. We're on low oil alarm. It has a low oil alarm. It should have been alarming the heck out of itself there. Well, look at somebody pulled that rope over that plastic a million times. It kind of pulls to the front. Here we go. What do you think? $40 generator. In 5, 4, 3, let's go. What the heck is that? Fell off. Okay, no choke. Just run. We'll try some ether in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Starting fluid time. Starting fluid time. Might have to hook up some generators around our places here today. Going to reposition this direction so I can get to both sides. Just bring a light over, and I'm standing in front of you, but we're limited filming locations today due to lack of power. Yeah. Oh, that was the lid to that oil can. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. We're going to have to pull a plug. It turns over fine. It feels normal pulling it over. If I can guess what normal is. Just because of my Hondas, I guess. There's a plug. Yeah. Because if this thing doesn't have spark, this is exactly why I said I'd never buy one again. Because they're all built into the inverter. And they're cost prohibitive to fix. But I never tried that dollar auction thing before. I don't know what size it is. I don't know. There's a 3/4. Seems too big. Try a 5/8. Where's my 5/8? What did I do with my 5/8 spark plug socket? Dang. Sorry. So that little bitty engine takes a 13/16 spark plug socket, if you can believe it. Still no power, guys and gals. Okay, it's got fuel in it on it. It's pretty wore. It is a Autolite 4123. So it's not a horrible brand. It's not. I'd use an NGK, but not sure if I have one or not. But where's my Sparky tester? Here's one. I keep one in both shops. 4123. I do not recognize that number. Let me do this though. You get a fuel valve plug, get out your little torch and kind of burn that fuel off. The electrodes wore quite a bit. He's got some hours on it. I'm going to check the gap real quick. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it should probably exceed 30. So there's 30. Yeah, it's right there. So we're going to drop this plug back in. I'm going to shoot some fluid down in the hole. We'll try to pull it again. No lights. Some of it must have got in there. Some of it must have got in there. Yeah, I don't think I have that plug, but I don't think it's a bad spark plug. Everybody throws a plug in them thinking, you know, that's why it didn't start, right? It's got a bad spark plug. Well, that's almost never what it is. It's a fuel issue. Or just lack of spark unrelated to the plug. Okay. Can I plug this in to this really short Boy, oh boy. I don't know. Let me try it. Oh, this way. I don't know if that's long enough. This is tight to get this on. There, I think it got it. And it's always difficult to see this while you pull it. But let me pull it anyway, in case it wants to start this way. No choke. I heard it pop out the exhaust, which means it may have been sparking. All right, I'm going to shut you down so I can record my spark and come back and watch it. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, I did include that clip so you could see it does have spark. Okay, so, and then I heard that pop through the carburetor, which really tells me that we have a valve issue. This thing obviously has some hours on it, and I think what we have is tight valves. So I'm not really sure how to get all the plastics off this thing, but we'll kind of figure that out as we go. I'm not sure with the power situation and stuff right now that we're going to dig into this thing right now, so I might have to put the video off a few days. For you it won't be anything at all, but you know, the pop through the intake is a telltale sign that we have ignition happening without the valves completely closed. So that's not a bad result, actually. The head is right here, so whatever it takes to get this side of the plastics off will give us access to the valve cover. Almost could get it off here, but not quite. And then we'll set the valves, and I believe she'll run. In the meantime, I'll look for some parts. I won't order anything until we hear it purr. But for a $40 generator, if you can fix it for free, pick up a few bucks worth of parts. She's a little rough around the edges, but most of them end up that way anyway, just the nature of how they get used. So guys, I'll check back with you in a little bit, but it might be a few days for me. Here we go. All right, boys and girls, it is the next day. Power is back on. It was out for another hour or so when I quit videoing. We established that this thing has spark. We heard it pop through the air box, which usually tells you that the intake valve is not completely closed and it tried to fire. So that would lead us to believe the valves are tight, like they're not closing all the way. So we're definitely going to dig into that. So I'm trying to look this thing over to see all the bolts and stuff that got to come out. If there were bolts through here, they're missing. There's two here. This front panel on the left side here probably needs to come off. To allow this to come off, there may be some screws under there, or they may be common screws that pull the front cover and the side cover simultaneously. 1, 2, 3 Allen head bolts through the bottom. Nothing appears to be on this side. So it should be easy enough to pull this side piece off so we can get the valve cover off and adjust the valves. So hopefully that's all that's in there. I will bring you up to speed a little bit of what happened yesterday. A power line failure caused a power outage in a pretty good portion of this side of town. I kick myself for not thinking about some friends of ours that have a child who got a very horrible, the most horrible disease you could ever imagine when she was like 7 or 8 years old, and it basically paralyzed her completely. She has a little bit of movement in one arm, one hand. Other than that, she has nothing. It took all her muscles away. It's absolutely the saddest thing ever. For many years, her mom's her primary caregiver, and she has people that come in and out. Well, she has a powered bed. She has a ventilator. She has suction machines, this kind of stuff, and they have a whole house backup generator. I've told them, if you ever need anything, day or night, whatever, you just call. You guys are very, very special to us, and you're our highest priority. And as I was filming, I shut this down, take a call. It was them. The generator did not come on. So I just kind of threw everything I could think of in my car, another generator, 100-foot cord, that kind of thing. We got her suction machine back up and running immediately. And then I went to work on her generator. Turns out I looked at her generator many years before. It is 16 kW Generac and a good machine. Last time I looked at it, I went back to work when I was still working and printed a manual for it, put it in a notebook, and I've had it ever since, just in case. I remembered where I'd put that manual. I took it with me while I was diagnosing the generator. It had thrown a code, and the electronics pieces of generators aren't my strong point. But anyway, between the book and the internet, I was able to clear the code because it was throwing weird codes. And it turns out because the battery was dead. And it exercises every week, but turns out that battery was like a 2016 production date. So I ran back, got my jumper box off right there, and went back and jump-started the generator and got it up and running as the power came on. So catastrophe avoided, but that was kind of our day. We went and saw a movie, and that was a good day. Sorry I digressed, but I thought it was interesting that I had picked this generator up minutes before power outage occurred. So let's see if we can get these screws out. Pretty loose, been apart before, I guess. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take a little bit of time with this, boys and girls, mostly because there's nothing out there in YouTube land about this. We're going to pull this knob out of here. It's going to take no doubt, it's going to take a Phillips screwdriver that's thin to take the knob off. Honda uses similar knobs like on their EU3000. So yeah, okay. Expertly removed. Yeah, well, let me get a small screwdriver and try to pry this thing off. Come on. You want to move, don't you? Well, I'm not sure what else is holding it, but it's kind of stuck. I don't want to force it because I may be able to get the side cover off without completely pulling this front cover off. Wow, I don't know why it's so tight on there. I don't see any other screws, but it sure feels like there's a screw holding it. I'm just looking carefully. Don't know. I don't know. Yeah, well, let's see if we can manage without it. We'll see. Pull these top ones out of here. Those appear. 'Appear to be missing screws. 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 'Appe I'm going to see if it is a missing screw. So at least I know what to look for. Or if they go in from this side or the other side. From the other side and they are missing, these do fit. At least I know what to obtain. I think on that side we're okay. I broke these loose already. I don't know if this drain or the where you check the oil or fill the oil, if it's leaking, but there's a lot of oil in there. I know I made a mess when I overfilled it, which could be the issue. These are approximately 6 millimeter. Let's see if it says on it. 5.5 millimeter. I struggled to find parts for this, the missing airbox cover and the end, but on the data information on this thing, it does give me an email address for questions, parts, or something, so we're going to look into that. Okay, let's remove the cap. Probably this rubber gasket. Definitely the rubber gasket. Let me grab a lighter. Kidding. Don't do that. Yeah. Why won't you separate? There's no screw in there. Or is there? Oh, there might be. Maybe only one screw's missing. Just because I can see through that one doesn't mean I can see through both of them. I think the screw is still there. There's only one missing. Can I do it from the back side? I don't think so. Success. Winner and still champion. It did not beat me. Yeah. Look at that. Well, she's a dirty old girl, isn't she? We'll see about cleaning up this thing a little bit. Clean it up a little bit. Okay. And now we got this a 10 millimeter. We're just going to wipe this off a bit. Let's just take the spark checker out. We know we got sparkage. Put it back up here where it belongs. Yep. Out of my way, I say. Put the gas cappy back on there. Gas cappy. We're going to get this vent hose separated. Come on now. Come on now. See if I got one of my little fuel line pliers. If you ain't got one of these, go to Harbor Freight. Get you a set. This is why. Ooh, I don't want to hurt it, but she's not spinning yet. There we go. Yeah, get you a set of these. You'll thank me. Okay. I got a lot of tools sitting here. Let's get a 10 millimeter. Tools everywhere. And I think it's 10. I think it's 10. Oh, quarter-inch drive. You silly. I didn't know. Oops. Man, some of these sockets, you just can't read them. It's evidently 11. I can't read them. 10. My bad. My bad. Put the screws together. You guys think I'm right? Think we got a misadjusted valves. I believe this got quite a few hours on it. You know, there's probably a scheduled maintenance on the valve adjustment. And they've probably never been done. Doesn't really show signs that it's ever been done. Ta-da! Isn't that cute? Alright, somehow I got to turn this over. So the easy way to do is just make one valve close and one valve open, okay? So if you got one valve that's open, then you can adjust the other one. And you don't even care which one. This one's opening, so you could adjust this one. Oh, you know what? It's tight as can be. There is zero clearance. Hang on, there's some fuzz right here. We're going to extract before the engine eats it. Okay. Yeah, zero clearance, okay? And this would be intake valve, right? Because the carburetor's here, okay? This would be the exhaust side of the world. So this would be exhaust valve. So let's open the intake valve. If I can pull this. Okay, so now we have intake valve open, exhaust valve has clearance. Okay, now I didn't really look up to see what the specs are. Normally we see the exhaust. There's some engine information right there. Normally you see the exhaust around 7 thousandths and the intake around 5. So I'm going to check real quick. I'll bring you back and we'll adjust the valves. Okay, boys and girls, I got it looked up. 7 to 12 thousandths, both intake and exhaust. So I think we're going to go with 8 thousandths. That's not right in the middle, but yeah, I think it'll be fine. I checked the exhaust valve and it was fine. It has a little bit of drag at 8 thousandths, so it's probably 8.5 to 9 thousandths, and we'll leave that. That is in the middle. But the intake, as I mentioned, has zero lash. You can't move it at all. You can't get anything in there. It needs to be adjusted very badly, and that was our prediction. So we'll loosen the jam nut 8mm. We're going to have to back that off. It's a little tight in here. I wish I had a smaller set of feeler gauges. Again, I have rotated the engine till the exhaust valve is open, because that means intake is closed. And we want a bit of drag. We're going to just do this with our fingers. And that's this little square-headed, so I've got a crescent wrench standing by. That's 8mm with a little drag. And it's as tight as I can make it with my finger. So here's 8mm wrench to tighten the jam nut. And I've got a little bit of drag. Okay, let's crank it over one time. Okay, that valve went down. Means you can adjust this one all day long. All day long. Come Come on in now. Shoo. Come on. It's just a little tight to get it in there. Okay. There we go. And I've got a bit of drag there. So she's probably in that 8.5 to 9 range, and now she's tight. Okay. What do you say I stick this back together and hear it run? Do you think it's going to run? I think it is. That was a diagnosis right up front. As soon as we knew we had spark, and as soon as we heard it firing out the carburetor. Why was it firing out the carburetor? Because it was firing without the valve being closed. Okay, pretty easy diagnoses. Pretty well built little valve cover there. Pretty well built. I've done a couple of these Chinese generators, and I hated them. Hated them, hated them, hated them. What possessed me to buy this? My brother-in-law's already mentioned. He says, you said you weren't going to do any inverter generators that didn't say Honda on them. I'm like, you're exactly right. I said it. I'm not positive why I did this, but knowing this was a Yamaha engine and not just a, I mean, they're a Chinese Yamaha engine, don't get me wrong, but there, it wasn't down for some reason. But it is Yamaha. There's a Yamaha golf cart right behind you, by the way. And there's 2 more in the barn. Click. You hear it click? Pre-torque. Pre-torque. Pre-torqued. That's the way we roll. Let's put that vent tube back on there that we expertly removed. Should we put this other side cover back on? As if to say we're never going to get in there again? Why don't we drain what fuel's in the bowl? Where's my cup? It's up here. Don't ever get you a cup of coffee and a cup in my shop, boys and girls. You never know what has been in it, but I guarantee it wasn't coffee. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what we get. Ooh, nice gas. Clean. Smells good. No water, no debris. Well, what do you know? Yeah. Yeah. Can you see that? It's brand new. If I could drink gas, I'd drink this. Because it ain't spoiled or nothing. Now I don't want to put this back together because I want to clean it up, and that's going to take like 6 days. Is this thing sturdy enough to start without assembly? I think it is. We're going to need to put this thing back on though. I think it's sturdy enough to run this way. We've got to at least. Okay. So that is start with chokage. I'm going to grab a Phillips screwdriver real quick and just run this screw in on this turn it on knob. Okay. Is it going to run? Oh yeah. I say 95% chance of success it is going to run. Oh, come on. Sit on the bench and blow exhaust on everything on the back there. We've got some work to do to put this stuff back together. What's your view like? Back up, boys and girls. Here we go. Okay, it says start choke right there. Start to choke yourself right there. Eco throttle is off, it appears. So all we got to do is pull the handle and hear it run. Ready? Cross your fingers. Place your bets. Here we go. Oh, not on the first pull. 2, 3. Come on, baby. More chokage. Dang. Wow. Wow. All right, I'm going to fiddle with it for a minute. All right, just for fun, I did run to Napa and grab another spark plug. I wanted an NGK, they didn't have one. Champion second choice didn't have that either. An Autolite 4123 came out, so they did have an Autolite. It was a 4123 that did cross to the NGK, so this did have the right spark plug. I don't expect this to do anything, but the only time I've ever really seen a spark plug fix a problem, although everybody in the world starts by changing a spark plug. You see generators that don't run on the internet all the time. Oh, it just needs a spark plug. It never just needs a spark plug, unless somebody put one of like those torch plugs in. They're garbage. They will fail. If it's a name brand plug, probably not going to fail. The only other time it might fix something is if the where was I headed here? Is if somebody put the wrong plug in it, and really that's what I was chasing today. I don't believe this spark plug is bad, and now I've confirmed it is also, I should just check the gap. It's also not the incorrect plug. I did look up the gap, and 28 is what it wants to be. So let's double check it. It looks like that's about what it is. And yeah, less than 30. So I don't think it's going to do anything. We're chasing a problem that I don't exactly know yet. But you gotta chip things one at a time, I guess. I just don't understand. That valve had no lash. I believe it was hanging open. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. The next thing, we're going to chase a carburetor issue, and then maybe it was flooding. I'm going to try to start it without a choke. This thing did catch fire off camera. It was just burning out here, so it did spark at the wrong time, or spark too much fuel, or it did something. Could be an ignition module, you know, there's just so many things. And for this $40 generator, I'm not anxious to spend a bunch of money on it either, so it's just not doing well. Okay, we're gonna pull it. I'm gonna turn on the eco throttle. I don't know why, just because it's different. No choke, run on me. Here we go. Choke. No choke. Oh, yeah. Check the plug. I'd have bet money. I'd have lost. If this thing would have fired right up. I was sure of it. It's not wet. It is not wet. It's not flooded. So maybe we just got a carburetor issue. Maybe. Maybe. We can pull it off of there and have a peek at it. No choke. That's crazy. Checking spark again. Now, I can't see that, so I'm gonna have to film that. Come back and look. Okay. Filming. Did it? Did it? Yesterday we had spark, today we don't. Come on. I turned the lights off. We're going to try this again. I just worked the switch back and forth a little bit, just in case it was, you know, whatever. A little sticky, a little whatever. Try again for whatever. Again, I can't see it. Checking video. So I guess we do have spark now. I don't know. I took the plug out. I shot some gasoline straight in the cylinder. And we're going to try again. We're just in run mode. Shouldn't need to choke. What are we going to see this time? Goodness. I don't know. I don't know. Weak spark? I don't know. I'm going to pull this plug out. See if I can drive this with a drill or something. Can I? Yeah, I think so. If I can find a socket for it. Okay, find a socket to fit that thing. I don't know. Seems pretty good. That's an 18. It is an odd size. 17 is usually there. Can I turn it with one of my cordless drills? Interesting. About to find out, I guess. Try it. try a Milwaukee one, huh? I think it's got some guts. What direction does that go? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to pull it and see which way it goes. Anti-clockwise. So I'm going to pull the Sparky arrestor out because I seen a puff or something there, just in case she's plugged. Hang on. Found the right Allen key. Don't you just wish James Condon was your neighbor and that he'd like spending time with you and you could just call him and invite him over for, you know, little adventure? I do. Guy's a genius. I watch him all the time. I rewatch his videos. Spark arrestor, she's a little stuck. Oop, there, we got it moving. We got it moving. Man, you just get the feeling this generator just doesn't want to run. It's not completely plugged, but it's a little dirty. I thought it might have an insert, but I don't think so. I think it had an insert. I think the insert's gone. I think there's a screw right there for it. Or maybe that little cap is all there was. That's like raw gas. Yeah, it's just raw gas. It's like we got no spark at all. Well, I'm going to take the choke off. Try and run it for a while. Okay, now it's starting to do that thing out the intake again. You want to watch the fire? You're going to need to be over here. Okay. I should have something to extinguish said fire quickly. Let me gather up something here. Alright, I have a cup of water and a microfiber towel. How's that? And gloves. And gloves. Yeah. No risk, no glory. Choke is off. Cranking. Stops, it stops. Little choke, half choke. Very, very interesting. I don't know much about, well, I don't know anything about where the ignition module is. Those last two piece of crap made in China little generators, the ignition module is built into the inverter, which means if you need to replace the ignition module, you need to replace the inverter. And these things don't have enough value to support that. So it really feels like that's where we're at here. Because if it was getting spark and getting spark at the right time, it would fire and run at least for a second. But it just seems like my spark is hit and miss. It's random. It's not when and where it's supposed to be. Danger. Not what I was hoping for. And it sure has the feel of, tight valves and stuff. So I think I'm just going to start fiddling with this thing because it's getting pretty boring for y'all. And see what the heck. I'm going to lose patience with this thing pretty fast, put it back together, put it on the shelf for another day. Because I got some other things I'm working on. But I was thinking this would be a quick video this morning, get it running and let it run all day and change the oil, clean it up, be done with it. But not today. All right, see you in a bit. All right, boys and girls, I flipped it around, pulled the other cover off. This is obviously the coil and ignition components. I think there's still a module somewhere in here, but because I don't know how to test it, I did pull what I think was the oil sensor and just disconnected it, tried to start it again, no difference. I ordered a new one of these. I looked at the picture, all the colors match, the connectors match, so I'm guessing it's the right one. Is this the problem? I don't know. Throwing the parts cannon at it. If it's not, I'm probably done with it. I mean, here we go again kind of deal, right? I really thought after yesterday that we had spark, then we didn't, and then we had spark again today, and then put the plug back in. I think it's a weak spark is what's going on. You put the thing in, put it under compression, and it goes away. So I hope that works. If not, I'm not sure where we'll go with this thing. It just simply doesn't have much value. We can chalk it up to an experience on the dollar auction and move on. I'll just put it for sale and tell them what I've done. Maybe I can recoup my money out of it. But I'd rather it work and just to have a beater around, or, you never know. We'll figure it out. Wait for the part to come in. Probably about 4 or 5 days. In the meantime, maybe I'll clean this up a little bit. It's a really rainy day outside. I really don't want to do much anyway. Stand under my heaters and make this thing look better. So let me clean this thing up for a day or two, and we'll go from there. Bring you back when I got a part. We'll swap it out, see if it does anything better than what it's doing right now. Later. Well, boys and girls, I've been fiddling with this thing on and off today. I've cleaned it up. Been thinking about it. I ran it with the spark checker on it, and it really does maintain a spark, even though maybe before I didn't think it did, but it does. Knowing that this thing didn't hardly have any oil in it, when I got it, I decided I better run a compression check. So I did a dry compression check, and it barely bumped the needle on my compression gauge. So I oiled the cylinder significantly and got it up to 50 pounds. Sure, this has a compression release in it to keep it around 50-60 pounds. And then I ran it on the drill, and tried to see if it would fire. I got it to fire out the exhaust and the intake a little bit. And after a while, I ran a compression check again, and yeah, 25 pounds. So I'm thinking that motor's shot. So I went to Amazon and canceled the coil that I had ordered. We'll just kind of going to cut our losses. I think what's going to happen. I think tomorrow I will reassemble this and place an ad, for parts. Somebody, may need the electronics out of this thing or whatever. But I'm always straight up. Say, hey, this is where I'm at. I didn't take it apart. I didn't check things. Didn't diagnose it completely. But this is my gut. And I think it needs to be rebuilt. I just don't know that it's worth it. I don't know what the parts cost, etc. It's not something I want to deal with. It'd be fun maybe to rebuild a Honda one day, but I don't feel these are worth the effort, especially this one's not in that great a shape, although it cleaned up pretty good. So it was interesting. It made a video, I guess, but it's not going to run. It's not for me. We're going to put it back together and send it off for someone to part out or rebuild or whatever they want to do. Totally up to them. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Throw a comment down below. I will catch you in the comments in the morning, as I do every single morning. Other than that, we'll catch you on the next video. Okay, I'm not really done with the video yet. Here's what I decided to do. I kind of slept on it a little bit. I'm going to take a cue from James Condon, my favorite YouTuber on YouTube. I've rewatched many videos of his, let alone just because I get caught up in his videos right now. I'm actually going back and seeing some of his very early videos. How we all were a little rusty back when we started this thing. And I'm going to put this thing back together and hang on to it and wait for one of these little generators that doesn't make power. It's got a good engine. He puts those together all the time on his channel, and I'd feel good about that. I was just going to put it back together and just resell it. Just being honest, here's what I determine is wrong with it, and it's parts. But the inverter and stuff would, if I asked $50 for it, I'd make $5, and somebody could get an inexpensive inverter or whatever other parts they might need for their machine. So that's one way to do it. But I feel better about just putting it on the shelf and waiting for something with a good engine and a bad something else, or it's been bounced out of the back of a truck or something. Not that this one's in pristine condition, because it's far from it, but it did clean up okay. Still missing, a couple covers and etc. But let's do that. I'm going to put this thing back together. I'll pop back in once it's all together. I'm going to put it on the shelf. I'm going to basically open this screw. This is evidently a gravity feed fuel system, and I'm going to drain all the gas out of it, and I'm going to park it. And one of these days, one of these machines will show up, and I'll grab it, and we'll build one out of two. That's a future video for you right there. So yeah, we're going to do that. All right, guys. All right, boys and girls. She's all back together. We're going to go throw it on in the shed for undisclosed length of time. I might give my brother-in-law an opportunity at it. I have two brother-in-laws. I gave one of them a EU 2000 for Christmas because he really wanted one, and he deserves. He's helped us out a lot. The other was kind of whining a little bit, like he'd like to have a small generator as well. I don't think he's fussy like I am to have a Honda. My other brother-in-law actually drives a Honda, and he's a Honda kind of guy, so he is fussy. But My other brother-in-law is a bit of a mechanic, retired, and maybe he wants to rebuild this one or something. I don't know. So I took some pictures. I'm going to throw it in the shed, think about it for a little bit. I don't care if I keep it. I won't marketplace sell it. But if my brother-in-law is interested in it, I can pass it on to him. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Video over. Goodbye.